Barbara, how did she get involved in skeet shooting of all sports?
Well, you know, Terry, she has her dad to thank for that. He's always been an avid outdoorsman, taking Sydney with him into the woods when she was just 4 years old. So when someone mentioned a youth skeet shooting team in Kosciuszko County, well, they figured they'd give it a shot. But they never dreamed it would lead to this.
In a sport that used to be dominated by men.
You know, you get the, well, you know, she's a girl.
This 17-year-old pistol is shooting for the top.
I can do just as well as any other guy out here and do better than them sometimes.
And she has the hardware to prove it.
These two are important ones, my favorites so far.
Sydney Carson recently took home the women's skeet gold medal in the Junior Cup.
Being able to shoot for my country was my main goal and do well, and then winning gold was, you know, crazy to me.
Especially crazy when you consider where she started 5 years ago.
We put her on the easiest target on the course, and she probably shot at it 40 times and never hit it. She was crying. She even had a little snot running out of her nose. And she finally hit one, and she said, "That's good, I'm done." But you know what? She came back the next day, and she's pursued it for 5 years.
Sydney's persistence was pretty clear to me because she and her dad insisted I give it a shot.
Pull.
I quickly learned skeet shooting isn't simple.
Not too bad, right?
Apparently, if you're going to go for the gold, it takes a whole lot of practice. Several hours a day, 5 days a week for Sydney. But it's all worth it to Sydney because she has her eyes set on some even bigger targets.
Being on the team now and getting to shoot for my country, I want to do well and when I go overseas and just always do my best. That's my goal.
And who knows years from now? Of course, the Olympics would be on her goal list or bucket list, but it's a lot of work to get there.
Of course, Dad thinks she has a shot.
She's worked hard for this. She deserves it.
Well, Sydney has another big competition coming up. She'll travel to Spain in September to compete in the World Championships. Her goal, like she said, is always to just represent her country well and do her best. And she certainly is doing her best out there.
And I must say, Barbara, you handle that shotgun quite well.
Oh my gosh, you did not see the bloopers, Terry. It was bad before that.
At least you didn't hit the camera. That's the most important thing. Now, how exactly do you win a skeet shooting competition?
You know, that was a question I had myself. I didn't know a lot about the sport, but apparently there are 25 targets in a round, and the goal is to hit all 25, but that's very difficult to do. And the hardest part isn't actually the skill of shooting. I'm told it's the mental aspect, not knowing when those targets are going to come out or where they'll end up.
And obviously Sydney's pretty tough mentally out there.
Oh, yes. I think her nickname is Sid Vicious is what they call her, and she has earned that well.
Sid Vicious, going back to the 80s and the punk rock movement. You're dating me here. All right. Babs, thanks a lot.
Well, Terry, workers at Forest River just keep setting the bar higher for themselves. This year, they raised nearly $24,000. Now, that makes tonight's shopping trip their biggest haul yet.
We'll find the next good section.
The folks at Forest River RV have always been eager to give.
When we come collecting, they're willing to hand out.
And every year when the company asks for donations for Toys for Tots, they hand over more.
We collected $23,869 this year.
That much money means a whole lot of gifts.
First time we've ever brought 2 motorhomes. So our goal is to fill both motorhomes tonight.
And filling them up, well, that's the fun part.
I'm trying not to take every single thing, you know, but it's hard not to.
With nearly 24 grand to spend, they go through dozens of shopping carts.
Like deja vu, I just had an empty cart.
This year, they're focusing much of the money on gifts for older kids who can be harder to buy for.
Games are always good. That puts kids together in a good situation.
While the holiday may not be all about the presents, these folks know just how important they are to kids.
They wake up and they're like, "Oh, it's Christmas. I want to see the presents under the tree." And then for some kids, only seeing 1 or 2 presents is kind of disappointing.
So even if they don't have much money to spare, workers set some aside.
I've known people, you know, especially being in the RV industry, that, you know, when RVs were down, this is a perfect example of where they go to get toys, is Toys for Tots.
And that's what makes giving so much better than getting.
If there's any other companies that want to challenge us, come on, let's go. Let's challenge it. Let's see if we can get 3 motorhomes next year.
That's quite the challenge. Now, they did all of their shopping at Meijer on 331 tonight, and I'll tell you, everyone else in that store, they were amazed when they saw all of those carts lined up. Forest River is going to be dropping their 2 RVs full of all those toys off at Concord Mall in Elkhart tomorrow morning during our Toys for Tots drive. Terry, it's caused by a genetic mutation and prevents the body from producing the cholesterol needed for normal development. Now, in Mason's case, it resulted in dozens of life-threatening complications, so he spent much of his short life in the hospital. Now his parents hope to bring comfort to other families in a similar situation.
This is a day that will never be easy.
Try not to think about it.
The day Mason Boone's parents should be celebrating his life, but instead find themselves struggling to cope with his death.
I would have given my life for him to have his. That's just not how it works.
From the moment Mason was born 2 years ago, he fought a hard battle, trying to live with Smith-Lemli-Opitz syndrome.
He had several surgeries, probably 30 to 50 in 20 months.
Even after constant trips to Riley Children's Hospital in Indy, Mason died from complications of the rare disorder in April.
We had a reason, we had a purpose, there's never a dull moment. And now everything's empty.
Despite the devastating loss, Mason's parents are focusing much of their energy on others.
This is the ball that we'll be donating this year.
They're collecting his favorite toys to donate to the NICUs at Riley and St. Joseph Regional Medical Center. Everyone in honor of Mason.
We want him to be proud of us. We want him to know that he's not forgotten.
And with every ball they hand out, they want families to know that they're not forgotten either, that someone's rooting for them and hoping to bring them a smile.
It gives me another purpose. I mean, I don't have the purpose that I had with having my son, but with this, it's second best.
Now, Kay and Mark will donate 67 toys every year. 55 are going to go to Riley and 12 to St. Joe, and because those are the number of beds that they each have in their NICUs. And they plan to hand out a different toy every year. Earlier tonight, they got together with family and friends to release balloons and lanterns in honor of Mason's 2nd birthday.